That is the hardest part of that ring.
For the hardest part of the ring.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the hardest part of the ring.
Hello and welcome to episode number 54 of Hardest Part of the Ring, the podcast where four friends get together to discuss the wonder of professional wrestling. I'm Adam, and unlike last week, I'm going to introduce the other guys. I'm joined by Sam.
Hello.
By John.
Hello.
And by Brett.
Hello.
Hello. And we are recording this at a time when who knows what's happening politics-wise. Everything's going to shit, isn't it?
It does sound a bit like a wrestling storyline at the moment.
Yeah.
It's still quite exciting.
Yeah. Sam, before the pod, you were suggesting that you think maybe Corbyn's going to go over. May might start jobbing.
Corbyn going over. Yeah. I don't know. I was thinking maybe a Corbyn heel turn.
Whoa.
I don't know.
I'm
not sure.
The mainstream media there, yeah, Sam.
Ooh, that is topical. And that's
satire.
Enough politics for us. Yeah, let's move on. Last week, we discussed the New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom event, Wrestle Kingdom 13. And this week, we're going to talk about NXT UK Takeover Blackpool. How are you feeling about this? You feeling excited?
Yeah, I really loved this. I always feel weird for American viewers who watch this, because obviously takeovers, traditionally NXT takeovers are in kind of quite cool cities, you know?
Yeah. I must say, a lot of those montages of Blackpool didn't look very impressive at all.
I thought the shot of the beach looked pretty cool. Made it look more impressive than it really is.
Nothing cooler than a seaside resort in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
I've never been to Blackpool. I thought it looked quite nice.
It looked okay, but yeah. Be better in
I
Brighton.
want to go to the tower. That looks quite fun. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously. But
yeah. Anyway, I don't think Brighton's really got much of a history when it comes to wrestling, but it's growing one, isn't it? Oh, God, yes.
Yes.
Little reference to Riptide for those that didn't know.
Anyway, Adam, yeah, I think that was...
yeah, well, we might have some new listeners. We probably don't. I just wanted to say that when I sat down to watch this, I couldn't watch it live on Saturday, even though I'm absolutely delighted that it was on live at a reasonable time. I watched it on Sunday night, and I was the most excited I've been before watching a pay-per-view, maybe since we've been doing the podcast.
Wow, really?
Wow.
Really?
Because it's something completely brand new. It's something I didn't know what to expect. We absolutely love takeovers, and we never get to watch them and review them on the podcast. Granted, this is different, but I knew it's going to be good. Like, I didn't think it was going to be absolutely awful. We were going to get to see wrestlers that we've seen live, like on WWE television.
True.
And I was excited. I was really excited.
Trouble is, you made me a bit worried about this pay-per-view because I haven't watched any of NXT UK, but some of the stuff you guys have been saying makes it sound not great.
I was worried from what I had seen of NXT UK.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the card is killer of this pay-per-view, I think. Is it a pay-per-view? Yeah. Can we call this a pay-per-view?
I think so.
I don't know if we can call any of them pay-per-view.
Yeah.
This subscription
It's a
event.
strange world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll stick to it. It's a pay-per-view.
Okay.
And
right.
let's have a little break and then let's get into it.
And now the power comes out. Lacey Lane bounced off the apron.
And that is the hardest part of the ring. Nothing but steel under that.
NXT UK Takeover Blackpool. As I said, who would have thought that the first Takeover show that we talk about on Hardest Part of the Ring would be a UK one. And we definitely wouldn't have guessed that when we set the pod up. John, you said that you haven't watched any of it. Sam, have you
watched half an episode before this, but then got distracted by something else. So.
Okay, interesting.
I watched the first 2 episodes, maybe.
Maybe.
Oh, really? Okay. And Brett, where did you get up to?
I got to about 11, episode 11, but some of those episodes were half watched.
Okay.
As in, they were in the background and I wasn't really fully concentrating.
Okay. So just to clarify, there were 24 episodes of NXT UK before this takeover. Loads of them were filmed, all the way back in June and July of last year. And then they started bashing them out, putting up 2 a week on the network, and 24 episodes, and I watched all of them. Which,
I'm so sorry.
Well, as you see, I think this is going to be an interesting one, because I think a lot of our listeners are going to be bang into this and will have really enjoyed it. And I must say, as it went on, I got more into it as some of the storylines started developing, and I got to know a few of the wrestlers a bit more.
I'm being disingenuous here. Like, I haven't watched enough NXT UK to have a rounded opinion on what I've seen. Like, kind of, I think you're always going to have a little bit of an awkward first couple of episodes, and I imagine any wrestling kind of organisation or event is going to have the same thing. 205 had a rough start, and I would imagine All Elite is probably going to struggle in its first few episodes.
What I was impressed with the half episode I watched is there are a lot of British wrestlers that I've never heard of. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, there are quite a few that they've got that I'm just totally not interested in at all.
Yeah, same.
Like Tyson T-Bone and people of that ilk. But I guess they have to have that sort of mid-card or even lower card fodder. But
this is the weird thing about a lot of this, though, is that, like, NXT traditionally is a developmental brand as opposed to the finished product. So surely wrestlers like Tyson T-Bone and kind of the less established wrestlers should be the ones who are propping up the product, whereas the main guys surely should be almost getting promoted, similar to NXT Classic Edition.
I mean, NXT started as developmental. It's no longer that now, though. It's its own brand. And
well, it kind of is, though, because you've still got the main NXT card with people getting called up to the main roster.
It is and it isn't, isn't it? Like, and there is no UK main roster. So I
suppose the main roster being SmackDown and Raw.
Yeah, the top stars. I mean, I will talk about Pete Dunne a lot later, but I really sort of would hope that he'd just go over to the US full time and just be on NXT, and then eventually, hopefully have a good run on Raw or SmackDown. I know that's something we're worried about, but I thought, all of the main events, pretty much all of the main events on each of the UK shows were good. Anything with Pete Dunne or Jordan Devlin was good. I thought the formation of the tag division has worked quite nicely. Zach Gibson has obviously been amazing. He's sort of made for WWE in a way, because he's just such a heat magnet.
I think James Drake is underrated as well. The more I see him, the more I think he's a really solid worker. And we'll talk about that match in a minute, but he did something in that match which I thought was outrageous.
Yeah, agreed.
I think with me with NXT, it's like you say, I think the main events I've watched have been great, and there's been some great matches. I'm just not, and I hope this is because it's early and it still needs to find its foot and add to that roster. But it's like there's some great wrestling exhibition matches, it feels to me, and I'm not loving the rest of the product as it is.
Yeah,
this pay-per-view has made me want to watch it from now on, though.
Yeah, I mean, especially with what happened right at the end.
Oh wait,
yeah. I mean, now might be a good jumping in point maybe for people.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the strange thing is, I've read a lot of American reviews, and a lot of Americans obviously haven't been watching the show every week, but have tuned in for Takeover because it's a takeover. And the Americans, majority of the reviews I've read have been really positive. So I imagine this event has brought a lot of eyes to it, and it'll be interesting to see if we get any information on how the figures have grown and things like that. Yeah. But anyway, NXT UK Takeover. Held at the Empress Ballroom in Blackpool, home of the first ever UK Championship tournament, of course. The attendance, I couldn't find this anywhere. There's no info, even on the Wikipedia page.
The attendance was lots for a small place.
I had a search as well, and I found, I can't remember what site it is, but some site claimed it to be 3,000.
Well, I think the ballroom has a capacity of 3,000, but obviously they had a massive wrestling ring where the mosh pit is usually, so I guess, who knows, maybe 2,500, something like that, maybe 2,000. But it looked nice. It looked okay. I kind of remembered it as looking a bit more impressive than it did.
Oh, I think it looks amazing.
I thought it looked really good.
Yeah, I'd love to see wrestling there.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I liked some of the places they've been to with the TV show a little bit more, but it definitely looked good. We had a comms team of Vic Joseph and Nigel McGuinness. What do you think to them?
Yeah, really good. I like Vic Joseph a lot, actually.
Did a decent job.
Massive fan of Nigel McGuinness on comms as well.
Yeah, I really want to watch that special they've released. I was going to try and watch that tomorrow, actually.
Yeah, it's great that he got one. That's really cool. Andy Shepherd's the ring announcer. I like him. He does a good job because I think that's a hard job for an English person. Sometimes. But just because Americans tend to just pull off that kind of over-the-top announcing better. Or is that complete bollocks?
Yeah, what about Mullet Man? Come on.
Yeah, complete bollocks.
Sorry, Mullet Man, if you're listening. I forgot about you. And then the backstage interview, Radzi. What do you think about Radzi?
Who?
Radzi's the guy.
Yeah.
Is he a Blue Peter presenter?
He seems like one.
I don't remember him at all.
Do you not? With the fro and
Adam,
the bow
can you just
tie.
pronounce his surname?
Yeah, it's Vadzi Chinyanganya.
Oh, well done.
That sounded quite legit. I don't know if that's right.
That did.
No, that sounds right. I was expecting a more Japanese pronunciation.
He has appeared on all of the TV episodes, so Brett and I obviously a bit more familiar. But yeah, he is a Blue Peter presenter, kids TV presenter. Yeah, he's still doing that. So yeah, moving on to the card. So there was a pre-show, but there were no matches on it. Just Waffle, just previewing each of the matches with Vic and Nigel. It's a bit weird there being no matches.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's strange. But there were 3 dark matches.
Oh,
which obviously haven't aired. Yeah, so Ligero versus Saxon Huxley, Marcel Barthel, I don't even know who that is, and Fabian Eichner versus Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster, and Ginny versus Isla Dawn.
Ooh. That's be a good match.
Yeah, that is good. Marcel Barthel is Axel Dieter Jr. Do you remember he was part of Ring Camp?
Oh, yes, I do know him.
He's just got his WWE name.
Oh, I didn't realise.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Oh, so that's good because obviously I watched the pre-show thinking, I want to see if they do have a match on there. But obviously they had the dark matches a little earlier or something. But in that pre-show, one thing that they did do, which I think is worth touching upon, is go all in when talking about how incredible it is that they've got this WWE Performance Centre in the UK now.
Yeah, that's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, it is cool, isn't it? And I thought it was really cool that Triple H obviously was there, and Charlotte and Finn Balor did a talk. Amazing that British wrestlers now have access to this kind of stuff.
That's amazing. Yeah. Apparently it's in Enfield, or maybe not. I have no idea.
Well, you just guess it.
Just read that, or you just guess it?
No, I think I heard that somewhere on the grapevine, in the wrestling grapevine.
Just commit to it. It's definitely in Enfield.
Yeah, it's definitely in Enfield. It's in fact where White Hart Lane. Wait, hold on. Do you know what? Let's just continue on.
Okay, well done, Sam. Sam's our Performance Centre correspondent. Yeah, good stuff. The main card, we started off with Zach Gibson and James Drake versus Moustache Mountain, Travis Banks versus Jordan Devlin, Dave Mastiff versus Eddie Dennis, Tony Storm versus Rhea Ripley, and Pete Dunne versus Joe Coffey. Obviously, there were a couple of tweets to that card, which we'll get to later. We're going to talk about the key matches first, and I think what we should do is actually talk about them in order, and start off with the first match of the event and our first key match, which was James Drake and Zach Gibson, also known as Grizzled Young Veterans, although they don't seem to be labelling them as that on NXT UK at the moment, do they?
Oh, really?
No,
yeah, they come out
on
the big screen. No. It just has their individual names.
That's weird.
But James Drake still has his face on his arse.
He does.
I noticed that.
That's his gimmick. That's his whole
Crowd
thing.
enjoyed chanting that.
Was that his face? I thought it was Rob Zombie.
It did look like
It's
Rob
a
Zombie,
massive
actually.
Rob Zombie fan.
Grizzled Young Veterans versus Moustache Mountain for the NXT UK Tag Team Championships. What do we think? First off, what do we think about Trent and Tyler coming out as the British Bulldogs, basically?
Lovely.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Great.
Yeah.
Lovely touch.
Trent in tights.
Yeah.
I quite like him in tights.
They both look great, I thought.
Yeah.
I was a little worried it was a bit of a, what was Aiden English and the other guy in
Vaudevillains.
It looked a little bit like that, and I was like thinking, oh, please don't go with this full time.
That's funny, actually. Because like when I was watching it, I was thinking, "Oh man, the Vaudevillains! If only they were still about, they would have loved NXT UK. they would have fit right in."
Yeah, they really would have.
They would have done, yeah.
Yeah. This was probably the best match of the night, I thought.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that. It was a bloody hot open.
Yeah.
Really good match. Really, really good. I really enjoyed watching 3 or 4 of the wrestlers do
here we
their
go.
thing.
Mate, Trent was great in this, doing what he had to do. He is one of the best.
Making up the numbers?
The way he plays the underdog role, I think's great. And then when it got down to him actually performing, his chops are very, very good indeed.
Yeah, and he hits the dragon suplex. I love the guy, and the Rainmaker. That's the 7-star lariat.
Yeah.
I'm pissing about. I think it's good.
My one beef with this is the Tyler Bate, Trent Seven, Trent getting beaten up, hot tag scenario has been played out so many times on WWE now, or on NXT. It's just like, just do something different.
It has, but I like it because it's the hot tag to the small guy.
Yeah, but the super strong, mega buff small guy.
Yeah, super strong.
Yeah, big strong boy.
Freakishly strong.
There's no kind of denying, kind of WWE are looking to push Tyler Bate, not Trent Seven.
Yeah.
So they're always going to be giving him the nod. They're never going to have him eating the pin in comparison to Seven.
No,
so
I'm quite surprised they've put them together this early on.
I think it's a great move just because Trent's so good at talking and Tyler isn't.
Exactly.
That's true.
I agree with that totally. You can't have Tyler by himself. He just doesn't have... I mean, in many ways, he's got loads of charisma, but he isn't great at talking.
Subtle charisma.
But then
when
just
he's
give
quiet
him a
and
manager.
he's posing, it works. But, well, Trent would be the perfect manager. And hold on, Trent can wrestle, so why not have them as a tag team? Oh, they already have.
Yeah, no, but then
fine.
You don't get Tyler going chasing for that main belt
20,
back.
He's really young.
Yeah, 21, isn't he?
Yeah,
still?
but he's better than practically the whole UK roster.
Yeah, he really is.
That time will come. His singles run will come.
freakishly strong.
How electric was the crowd at the start? I told you I was excited, and when this was the first match and the crowd were going mad,
that was
just
great.
like, this is
one of the hottest crowds I've
goosebumps.
seen in a long time. They're super hot, and quite obviously at least 3 drinks deep.
Yeah,
they were properly lagered up.
It was a pissed up football crowd.
It really was. Yeah,
I think this reminds me though of the ECW one night stand thing all over again, where if you hold something in a smaller arena, you just get a better atmosphere.
Yeah. I liked the fact that Vic Joseph kept on referring to the unique atmosphere every time there was another football chant, or somebody calling someone else a wanker or something like that. So funny.
I loved the spot where Tyler Bate was on Zach Gibson's shoulders, and he gets kind of suicide dive from James Drake.
God,
only spins 360 degrees before falling. That's mental.
Yeah, I
He
didn't
sells so well.
see that clearly the first time his landing, and I was like, oh my god, he's broken his neck. They've killed Tyler, but obviously he'd managed to rotate enough.
And then Drake kicking out at 7 before he managed to get through to him.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And I think just before that, they had that amazing near fall where Grizzled Young Veterans, they were beating down Trent and they did the Helter Skelter into the 450.
Yes.
And that looks so good.
Yeah, I mean,
so
James
good.
Drake did a 450.
Yeah.
He's a big
Hello,
guy.
everyone.
He's a really big guy. That was insane. He looked so happy when he hit it as well. He jumped up. It was like, yes!
You would be. You'd
Have
be
we
so
seen him
happy.
hit that before?
I haven't.
I'm not saying he has. I'm just saying I have. I don't recall seeing it because when he did that, it was totally unexpected.
Yeah, it was
for me.
bonkers.
I think I might have seen it on Progress.
Yeah.
I think, they've got some really nice moves. I mean, they go quite far back, these two, and obviously have been teaming together, and they've got their wrestling school together in Liverpool.
Yeah.
So
these guys are a great tag team.
Yeah. This match really made me think that beforehand I wasn't really into James Drake. I always thought he was a bit of a nothing sort of guy, but he's a really good worker. It's fantastic.
Were you surprised by the result?
A little bit, actually, because the crowd would have gone insane if Mustache Mountain won.
Yeah. But they like to put the belts on a heel, don't they? Especially new belts.
Yeah, I never really thought that Moustache Mountain were gonna. It's almost too easy, too fairy tale for the nice faces who are the established tag team win the tag team belts. That's kind of
I thought that they would put the belts on there. One, because they're WWE guys who've been doing stuff for them and doing a good job for a while, but also because it's their first event and they want a huge reaction from the crowd. So I was quite surprised, but it's good. It's good to be surprised, as we always say. But yeah,
it was a very good match, though.
Best
Very,
match
very
of the
good.
night.
I'd agree. Yeah, definitely for me too. Okay, next match we're going to talk about is the women's NXT UK Championship match between Toni Storm and Rhea Ripley.
So, I haven't been watching NXT UK, right?
Okay.
And so when all of a sudden Toni Storm comes out, the first thing I'm like is, did they change the actress who plays Toni Storm?
What, she's got a fringe.
I do not recognise her. Mental.
Yeah, new glasses and a fringe.
Crazy.
Fan of the fringe, Sam? Fan of a fringe in general?
Well, I don't know, actually. I don't know where I stand.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
I think it's too early.
I'll
Too
come back
early
to
for
you
the
on
fringe.
Yeah.
When's a good time for a fringe?
You probably need at least a good 4 weeks to let it settle in.
I was going to say 12 years ago, but I don't know.
Oof.
12 years. Wow, okay.
I don't
It
know.
looks pretty cool.
I thought she looked a bit like Candice LeRae.
No.
No? I
No.
don't know.
She got an incredible pop when she came out, though. One of the biggest pops of the night.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, and obviously well deserved. We won't go into
Yeah.
all the details there, but obviously gone through a really tough time.
Yeah.
Actually, that was one of the things that that happened in the pre-show, which was a little bit odd. But Vic, they were previewing the Toni Storm and Rhea Ripley match, and Vic says both these superstars have been very vocal on social media, and I was like, well, Toni Storm literally deleted all of her accounts about a week ago, so she has been the
Probably-
total opposite of that.
Probably good for WWE not to acknowledge it anyway.
No, I know,
Yeah.
I know, but just don't talk about social
Yeah.
media at all.
Yeah.
Come up with something else.
They can't do that. They love their social media.
Well, that's true.
So, I don't know how controversial it's going to be. I don't think this was a great match. I don't.
Felt like it never really kicked on.
Yeah. And, not for lack of trying. I think both these women are excellent wrestlers. I don't know. It just never really clicked with me.
No, I'm the same. It felt
Agreed.
like it was missing something. And like, even when Tony kicked out of the Riptide, it felt like that should have meant more, but it felt a bit flat.
I think
Yeah.
the Riptide's a bad finisher, though. Like, it's a bit naff.
I quite like it.
Oh, really?
So what I found
Yeah.
weird was that early on we got the "Let's Go Rhea" chants, and then sort of halfway through the crowd was completely split, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was going "Let's
Yeah,
go
it
Rhea,"
was.
"Let's go Tony," and that shouldn't be happening.
I don't know. I think kind of it was an interesting match. Like I don't know how kind of over Rhea is as a heel. I don't think people are quite taking her seriously as a heel.
I wasn't a big fan of her heel stuff when she first turned heel, but I've sort of grown to like it. I think she's a really good heel.
I think she's doing a decent,
yeah, she's mean.
decent job character-wise. Yeah, I think she's not as established. And I know it's stupid because they're probably I think they're like the same age, wrestling-wise as Toni Storm. She's
Yeah.
definitely greener.
Absolutely.
And I think some of that sort of perhaps felt like it showed a bit in this match, but I thought it was pretty decent.
It was a good match. It just wasn't. I don't know. Just let me feel a bit meh.
Yeah,
I think it kind of sort of harkens back though to the whole NXT developmental brand side of things. Like as a developmental champion, Rhea Ripley, great choice. Toni Storm, she's maybe a bit beyond NXT as a wrestler.
Yeah,
So
winning
it's kind
the
of-
Mae Young Classic.
Exactly. Like she should be tearing it up with Asuka and Becky Lynch, not.
Yeah, it's weird that they've chosen some of these people to be the main people to, I guess, push NXT UK when it feels like they're beyond that. Like you say already, they've gone that step ahead.
yeah. Surely the first step towards tearing it up with Lynch and Asuka and those lot is actually holding a WWE title.
Well, I'd say winning the Mae Young Classic was a fairly large
Well,
achievement.
sorry, that is true. That is a good point.
Yeah.
But I think it makes sense for her to be champ. I'd like to see a bit more of Rhea on NXT original.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if she's going back there now
Yeah.
after this. She had a little run in UK. Now she's
Yeah.
going back.
Yeah, because obviously we've seen that they've now got Jazzy Gabbert and Kaylee Ray joining the roster, which
That's
is
great.
great.
For,
Yeah.
I'm so happy to see Jazzy Gabbert back.
Yeah, she just offers something a bit different, doesn't she? She's huge.
Yeah.
Literally, she is.
Yeah, she's very big.
Yes, she is. Okay, Well, let's move on from that because I think we all agree it was decent. Some nice moments. I mean, I must say the bit at the end with her celebrating with the fans was really nice.
Yeah. Rhea Ripley's Texas Cloverleaf as well looked awesome. That was really cool.
That was cool. Yeah.
And then I also had a note, obviously at the end of this match, they showed Charlotte in the crowd, and I just loved how the guys beside her were just so starstruck. Just didn't know what to do. They were like
it was the same guys each time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because I think they chose the same spot to show people, and they were making funny faces throughout.
Yeah.
They were like, at one point, I think it was like, and who are you that I'm meant to be?
Was that the rugby league guy?
Yeah.
Who was that guy?
I was like, who's this?
What was his name? Luke Menzies.
Yeah, that's it.
To be fair, I recognise the name, but I couldn't put a face to it. Still can't. Seen him now.
Grant Holt's a wrestler, isn't he? He's doing a bit of wrestling. Get him in.
Oh God,
big Grant Holt. Yeah.
No, I saw a clip on Twitter or something of him stepping in a ring, and no, not yet. If he's getting in, give him way longer in the Performance Centre.
Okay, so we'll move on and we'll talk about our next key match, which is the main event between Pete Dunne and Joe Coffey for the WWE UK Championship. I thought, first of all, really great warm-up video talking about Dunne's run as champ. 600 plus days. Absolutely amazing, really.
Skip that.
You skipped it. Oh, it really got me in the mood.
I went straight to the beginning of the match.
Obviously, it talked about him, which showed clips of the amazing match he had with Tyler Bate, and then the things he's gone on to do since becoming champ. Obviously, there was a long period where nobody knew what was happening with the UK side of things, but you can't take away the fact that he's just been a brilliant champ, and he's such a good wrestler. And we don't get to review Pete Dunne matches very often, so this was a bit of a treat.
This is the one we got.
This was a long match.
Yeah,
it was long.
I mean,
I think Joe Coffey felt it was long as
well.
Joe
Coffey should not be wrestling a 30-plus minute match.
No, that was evident at the end as well.
I think he put on a good job, though. Yeah, it's decent. I think
he's done really well, actually. I don't think he should be in the match at all, but I think he's done pretty damn well.
Great promo.
He's one thing. He's really good. He's really good at talking, and he looks like a hard bastard. Like when he crosses his arms, I think he's got quite a good look. Actually, I like him a lot more than I used to.
I think he's got good potential. Yeah, I think kind of Joe Coffey being in this main event was a little bit like kind of if you're playing a wrestling video game and your creator character is now in the main event of WrestleMania or something.
That is perfect. Yes.
A little bit kind of strange and out of place, but I think he put on a really good match here, like as good as you're probably going to get out of someone of his caliber of experience, maybe. Obviously, Pete Dunne, incredible wrestler, but I think Coffey kind of, it
was nice and technical at the start. I thought it had a really nice start to it and just built slowly.
Yeah,
it was a really, really good match.
Really,
with the failure. No, I think so. Like
it was.
I was overall, I have to say, after watching this pay-per-view, I was like a bit, I watched some really good wrestling, but I wasn't blown away. But like, hearing you guys as well now, I'm thinking, well, I know it had its faults, this match, and it definitely was too long. But there were loads of great moments in it. And Joe Coffey did hold his own for a good period of time. The only thing I felt that was off during this match was, I think there was a few points between these two guys where they didn't seem to be on the same, metronome. Like there was a couple of points where they were stuttering into stuff, which was a little bit clunky. But then, around that, obviously Pete Dunne is amazing.
I would argue that kind of, yes, it was a long match, but I wouldn't say it was actually too long. I think kind of having Pete Dunne wrestle in a 30-minute epic match against someone who's meant to be the top heel is probably, that really sells Joe Coffey as a heel and as a top guy in the organisation that they're pushing. Like, if, Pete Dunne comes out, squashes him in 15, 20 minutes or whatever, or even if they just have like a standard match, no one's going to care. It's just going to be money for old rope.
Totally.
But having this long match, having this kind of epic fight between the two of them, it just sort of, it did elevate Joe Coffey, which was great to see. And, he wasn't up to Pete Dunne's level.
Yeah,
and he could probably do a bit more stamina. But
it was just those 2 points where he fell from the top turn.
Oh yeah, what was going on there?
That was weird.
It looked like they were he was trying to set up a Spanish fly or something the first time. That's what it looked like. but Joe Coffey fell off and like had a long hard fall to the outside.
How did
and
it
then
happen
I was
again?
like, and then they obviously, I thought they brought it back really well.
They did, yeah.
To then get to the same spot again, but then like he went again taking Pete with him. He's a big guy. He's probably not used to being up on there.
Hold up, because I didn't read either of those as botches.
Oh, I thought they were both
Did
botches.
you not? They were total botches. The
I
second
thought-
was trying to do it again, because they do that, don't they? They try and bring it back and try again.
After the first one, I was thinking, okay, maybe it wasn't a botch. But then when they went to do it and it happened again, I thought, okay, sure. Why would you ever plan that in a match?
You see, I completely read that differently. I read that as like, this was towards the end of the match, like when you're hitting the 30-minute mark. And I thought it was kind of meant to be an indication of how exhausted they both were, that they can't...
So that's good.
I
That's
think
good
it
that
was
you
a
thought that.
reality of how exhausted Joe Coffey was, at least.
Could have been, yeah.
Yeah. I think they made it look good enough. It wasn't like slipping off a top rope. And
ultimately,
start
like
again.
for me, the thing about this match is it had a Rocky feel to it. Like it was kind of a real slobber knocker, to steal JR's way of putting things, where both of them completely tore into each other and tired each other out. And I thought that was really good for the match. I think it was really good as well to kind of showcase NXT's UK, kind of how it's different to kind of the more slick American product, I guess.
Yeah. I just found it really disjointed and like too long, and it didn't feel like they had great chemistry. I couldn't work out why it took, because the bitter end is a move they've kept quite sacred, like really strong, and like Joe Coffey took 3 of them.
Yeah.
And even that wasn't enough. He still kicked out and then got won by submission.
The finish was weird. I don't buy finger joints manipulation as
I think that was, I don't know, that to me just didn't feel like that was meant to be the end. Like, I think there was another finish planned, because I think when it got to that, they were just like, we're done.
Yeah, after that second fall from the top, it felt like everyone was like, okay, let's just get through this now. You fuck this up, let's just finish.
Which totally made no sense why he kicked out of that last bitter end.
It made no sense.
Like no sense. Like to not even be in like a, one of Pete Dunne's submission moves, just for him to be on the back pulling his fingers. It's weird.
I think kind of they were trying to sell it as a triangle chokehold with the finger joints, but I'm not sure that came across.
Don't think it was, but yeah.
Whatever happened, I did feel that those 2 botched bits sort of spoiled the end and spoiled the match a bit, but it was still great. Like I'd still probably give it maybe 4 stars. I thought it was really enjoyable, and mostly because of it was kind of like a match of 2 halves for me in terms of the crowd. Like in the first half, I spent a lot of the time being quite frustrated with the crowd. We've talked about how good they've been at times, but I felt like they were lagging a little bit and they were really flat. And even when they were having the first few near falls, there was like next to no reaction at all.
Yeah.
And then eventually Dunn did something where he starts, pumping up the crowd, and then they were all getting on their feet. And then for the second half of the match, they stayed on their feet, and it was a great atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, when Dunn did that power up and they started trading blows, that was super cool, and the crowd got really hot.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
Yeah, they were just beating the shit out of each other for ages and ages and ages, weren't they?
There's definitely parts of this match I really liked. Like that was really cool, and obviously the powerbomb onto the hardest part of the ring was cool.
Nice.
I just overall, I just felt meh. It just felt a bit disjointed and a bit disappointed by it.
Okay. And how did you all feel about? I mean, it's kind of classic now. WWE sticking up their little trademark symbol.
I missed this. I have to be honest. I missed this.
What, did you just turn it off?
Yeah, I turned it off.
Oh my days!
Hilarious. So how did you find out about it?
You were so done with that match, you were like, off.
Yeah. How did you find
I
out?
saw it
John?
online. I was like, oh, you motherfuckers.
And did you go back and watch it?
No.
Oh, there wasn't much to watch.
No.
I sort of read that he went in and just
actually-
kicked Joe Coffey. I was like, okay. I mean, I would
Yeah,
like to
that
see
was
someone
pretty
kick
good.
Joe Coffey, but I don't know.
Yeah, that kick was pretty good, actually. It was worth watching.
It was interesting because the whole way through this Coffey match, I was like, there's no way that Joe Coffey is going to be the guy that ends Pete Dunne's title reign. Who's going to be the guy that does it? Because it's such a big rub.
And now we know.
And I was thinking the only legitimate person would be Walter, but they need to build him up a bit. I don't know if you can just put him straight in the title picture.
Well, they're not going to have like another takeover now for about 2 months or so, are
Yeah.
they? So,
I don't think he needs building up, Walter. I think just everybody in the UK who's a wrestling fan who has any knowledge of the Indies knows how
Well, that's interesting though. 'Cause
dominating he's been.
do you think? Because I mean, just looking at the crowd, you didn't see a lot of familiar faces. You know, like I wonder how many of these people that go to the NXT UK stuff are indie fans, on how much are just WWE fans.
I was interested in that because there was a hell of a lot of WWE t-shirts around as well.
I think the opposite. I kept seeing Progress t-shirts.
Oh, I didn't. I saw one Progress t-shirt and one Villain Club t-shirt, and the rest were all WWE.
I mean, how much were tickets for this? I don't know for sure, but what are we talking, like 60 quid?
Yeah, maybe 40.
I agree. Like a lot of the indie fans would have loved to have gone to this. I mean, there do seem to be a lot of indie wrestling fans who seem to have endless amounts of money to be able to go to loads and loads of events.
Plus, through social media and watching Progress and everything, we know their faces, don't we? Like,
we do
see the same people.
Yeah, and there weren't many familiar faces. There was one guy who was sort of in the middle towards the front, who looked like he was on his phone the whole time. And when Walter came out, was literally just on his phone.
I saw him.
Yeah.
I thought that was odd. Get off your phone.
One really question as well is when Eddie Dennis came out. Like Eddie Dennis is loved on the indie circuit, but when he came out,
he's a heel.
It was just
he's a heel.
Silence.
Yeah, that doesn't matter though, does it? Whether he's a heel,
kind of does though, because like people are trying to buy into the story. So when you have a face that's all of a sudden being pushed as a heel, the crowd are kind of be in this weird middle ground where some of them are going to be cheering, some are going to be booing. You're going to end up with this weird reaction. It's like when Daniel Bryan first turned heel again, like recently, like. There was that first couple of weeks or so where people were almost silent because they're like, I don't know what to do.
Oh, did you guys see his work on SmackDown last week? Sorry to digress slightly.
No,
fucking excellent.
I was just going to say, going back to like who tackles Pete Dunne next. I mean, they've been building Dave Mastiff up throughout UK episodes that I've been watching so far. I mean, he is great, you know, and he's legit as well. I just can't see them like building him up and then Walter walking in and just being that person straight away.
100% Walter is walking in and is going to be that person straight away. I think he is
Definitely.
going to be.
He's just faced down the champ. He's not now going to go, you know, and just have some squash matches against Tyson T-Bone. Actually, now I say that, he probably will. But I think he'll be going straight for Dunne.
Be interesting to see how he wrestles actually on WWE TV. Will he be the same Walter we've seen on the indie scene?
Oh, exactly.
Ooh.
I've seen a clip of him chopping a little guy, like to death. I think one chop and it's killed him.
From where? A clip from where? Sorry,
Twitter.
You've just seen a clip of him doing it
on Twitter, because I think from the tapings,
yes,
they must have done.
I thought you meant just generally you've seen a clip of him chopping a little guy.
I've seen Walter in the streets, just killing a guy.
Okay, I think you should hand that video into the police. Okay, well, that's the key matches discussed, and I think we should have a little break, and then we'll talk about the best of the rest, the worst of the rest, the star performer, and the overall rank.
Oh my God! Oh, nice spread on the apron!
Best of the rest, then. We're each going to take it in turns to pick out something else from the pay-per-view, away from those three key matches that we particularly enjoyed. I'll go first. Eddie Dennis is going to feature in my worst of the rest as well, which we'll get to.
Ooh.
But he surprised me with how strong,
unbelievable
he is.
Yes.
Are we talking about the leg wobble moment?
Like,
the tilt-a-whirl onto the stairs.
Oh, that tilt-a-whirl onto the stairs was glorious.
Everything he did that involved lifting Dave Mastiff, it was just incredible. Because
that was mad.
Yeah, it really was. And yeah, the tilt-a-whirl was particularly impressive. Well, actually, I say impressive. Looked dangerous. Like it looked. If he dropped him like a centimetre further away from those steps, he could have done a lot of damage.
Dave Mastiff is definitely the wrestler I'd least like to get a crossbody from.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, the cannonball. Oh,
the guy is born to be a prop forward in rugby. Like that's his only job. I don't know why he's wrestling.
I just think it's weird having Eddie Dennis as a heel.
I don't mind
well,
it.
I mean, yeah, this is that's what I was going to say in my worst of the rest. I think he isn't very intimidating, and he just goes for intensity, and it's a bit funny. Like it makes me cringe and laugh a bit, like how intense
a little
he
bit.
is.
Yeah, does the crazy eyes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The thing with me and Eddie Dennis as a heel is like, I think his last Progress match I saw before seeing him on NXT UK is like he's gone a bit OTT with the intensity, you know, that angry face. It's like he took his great work that he was doing, his promos and everything, and then he just sort of like took those elements out and just went OTT because it's, you know, WWE, so I've got to be like really play up to it. I don't know, it just felt like that.
Yeah, you're totally right. Like he really just the character doesn't fit the look. And
and that
just
bloody
referring to another an American review that I read, I think it was on 411 Mania, them sort of saying that he needs to switch up his look a bit because he's just got like this tidy haircut. He still looks like a teacher.
Yeah, the hairdo doesn't work.
He needs to shave his head or something, and he needs to get rid of his new coat, and he maybe needs to switch up his gear if he wants to be I don't know. It doesn't work for me at all.
But before we go fully into the worst bit, his next stop driver on Dave Mastiff is my highlight.
Yeah,
best of the rest.
Yeah. There were some really great moments in that match. There really were.
Yeah,
all
really
from Eddie
enjoyed
Dennis,
that
actually.
match.
I mean, Dave Mastiff is good. Like the stuff on the outside where they did that cannonball looked so painful.
Yeah.
And actually, sorry, Sam, just before we move on, because I also had this note about Eddie Dennis, is that I've slagged him off about him being an awful heel, but the fact that he was a head teacher and he was part-time wrestling and then he ditched it and then he had that awful thing where he got that horrible injury and now he's wrestling on a WWE pay-per-view which is live on the network on a Saturday night. That is amazing.
That is amazing.
He really is living the dream.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is it's hard to kind of almost get heat for Eddie Dennis because, you know, like we know that story and it's just like, oh man, you done it. You done so well, man.
Yeah.
Plus we all love him and we want him just to party hard.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, see, I didn't watch any Eddie Dennis' stuff before his injury when he was a sort of babyface. I've only known him as this sort of heel character.
You see, like, to be fair, like, I'm going off what I've seen from him at Riptide, and you know,
he's very likeable at Riptide.
Well, yeah. We have buy pints off him.
Yeah,
exactly.
What else did you enjoy, Sam?
So my favourite moment actually of the whole show was Jordan Devlin saying he was the best Irish man or the best Irish wrestler.
The Irish Ace.
And I popped hard for Finn Balor.
Yeah.
I would have popped harder for Becky Lynch.
Oh my God. Imagine that. Oh, that would have been so good.
Me.
But I thought that was a decent match. I really enjoyed it and I thought it was a great reveal. I had no idea.
Yeah, me
that
either.
was going to happen.
It certainly added a bit of glitz, didn't it, to the event? It was really cool.
It really did.
It makes so much sense with the way that Jordan has been in these last few weeks. He's been brilliant. I think he's been an amazing heel, actually. And in many ways, he may have been a better shout than Joe Coffey. And he could be a future person to face
easily.
Dunn.
He's quality.
But the fact that he's been doing this whole Irish Ace thing and talking about how great he is, and he was doing the whole I'm the best, you know, talking about him being the great Irish wrestler before this, and Travis Banks talking about being great and being proud from being from New Zealand. The fact that Balor came out fit in perfectly, and obviously the fact that he was trained. Devlin was trained by Balor.
Yeah. It seemed like a very savvy move from WWE. I think it was a very good idea to have brought such a great high-powered face.
See, I know this was a very savvy move, and most people love Finn Balor, but I was up for Travis Banks.
This leads into my worst of the rest.
Really up for Travis Banks, like showing how awesome he was on a takeover. I was just gutted that
he'll get his chance.
Yeah, it was the match I was looking forward to the most on the card, actually. Travis Banks versus Devlin.
Yeah, he was thrown under the bus a little bit.
But is he legitimately injured?
No, he's back now, isn't he?
I thought he was back.
Oh.
Yeah.
The thing is,
seems like a weird choice. I thought he was legit injured.
Yeah, because it's not like, oh, he's injured. Oh, Balor's over opening the Performance Centre. Let's get him in a match. I don't think. I think they would have planned this.
Yeah, I think
in
that was
advance.
Also,
but great pop again. Yeah, biggest pop of the night for me probably was when he came out, because it was a genuine surprise.
It was good because I was watching this with a friend at the time, and when he said, you know, I'm the best Irish wrestler, I turned to my friend and was like, he fucking wishes Finn Balor's got something to say about that. And then sure enough,
he actually did.
He did have something to say.
Devlin's better though.
Better than Balor?
Yeah.
Oh, get out, Brett! Come on,
get out.
In my
worst
opinion,
of the rest. Brett's opinions.
Devlin's definitely better than Balor.
Devlin's very, very good, but Balor is better than he has had the chance to show. But
maybe I've only seen the matches I've seen of Balor outside of WWE and the ones I've seen inside, and I've not seen many outside of WWE. It's like it's the same, it's the same routine. It's a bit of the Randy Orton.
A bit of the Randy Orton, Brett. Come on.
I am. I'm very upset with you at the moment, Brett. I can't talk.
In a few weeks, we're watching the Rumble together, and
oh no, I'm not going through a table.
You might be going through a table.
One thing I wanted to say about that match was I thought the coup de grace looked like one of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah,
it did look good.
Yeah, it
looked very planted and piercing.
Yeah, planted right in the middle. How can that not really hurt?
Really, yeah.
Yeah.
It must absolutely
And another thing was Devlin, the way he does that the drag into the high angle backdrop driver.
That was so cool. I've never seen that before, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, he's done that on the TV shows a couple of times, and it looks brilliant. And I think that a lot of that is testament to the person that they're wrestling being able to sort of spring themselves up as well. Really, really cool. Did everyone do us best of the rest there? Then we did, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's get negative then. Worst of the rest. Mine was talking about Eddie Dennis as a heel, but I also had a little shout for Johnny Saint and how he just looks like someone's granddad when he was holding up the belts, the tag team belts at the start. It looked like he could barely lift them.
It feels a weird choice. You would have thought they'd have some conversation with him before they offered him this gig. And they would have actually, maybe he's not up to this.
Realised
I think
he can't talk.
In this show, and I hadn't seen it happen in the UK weekly shows yet, but Sid Scala sort of has obviously been stepping in to be the mic man and to do that job a bit with Johnny Saint as the prestige next to him.
Yeah,
and that works well.
Yeah,
that actually works really well. He's pretty good at that, Sid Scala. But one of the things that happened in the Go Home show before this, Johnny Saint came out. I think he was announcing one of the matches, and he referred to the event as NXT UK Blackpool Takeover. Johnny, surely you just practice that a few times before you come out. Make sure you get the words in the
How
right
would you
order.
like to see him and Booker T commentate?
Oh God, what a mess.
That'd be great, right?
No. And I know I'm essentially just being ageist, but he has got a job to do. They could probably have got someone better. Worst of the rest for you, John?
It was just the Travis Banks and Jordan Devlin. I was really looking forward to that match. I know, obviously, we got Finn Balor. That feels like I'm moaning about getting a massive present, but I was really looking forward to that match.
Yeah.
It's gutted it didn't happen.
Sam?
Well, sure, we have one that we haven't covered yet.
That's good.
Yeah,
Brett?
that's good.
I would reiterate Eddie Dennis's dragon coat.
Oh, yeah.
It feels like a kid's pajamas thing or something. I just don't like it.
Yeah, like a dressing gown.
Okay with his, sort of sponsored up shorts look and the muscle thingy, but the dragon, we know, he's Welsh.
Like, we get it.
Not every person from Wales has to be a dragon,
but everyone from Wales does love going on about Wales. So
I actually loved in the promos for that match the videos beforehand how Welsh he is, and then the Black Country accent of Mastiff is so funny.
Yeah.
The two accents, battle of the accents.
It's WWE, isn't it? So everyone from England's got to be royalty. Everyone from Ireland's got to be drunk. Everyone from Wales has got to be a dragon. Everyone from Scotland's just got to be hard as fuck. So, it's just WWE.
And speaking of hard as fuck, we need to do our star performers now. And I think I'm going to give mine to Joe Coffey, just purely because he sort of overperformed the most since NXT UK has started. I had no real interest in him. And when it looked like he was going to face Dunn, I wasn't hot on it at all. And yeah, he got knackered, and he isn't at that level as we said, but he did a lot better than I thought. And he's a great.
Have you just awarded him the most improved?
No, star performer for me on the night.
Okay,
but yeah, most improved wrestler. Well done. Star performer.
Award.
Brett, who's yours?
Oh, don't come to me next. Let me think about it.
Okay, star performer. John, who's yours?
I'm going to go with Tyler Bate, big strong boy.
Ooh.
He was amazing in that
Good
tag
choice.
match, and I think he's going to have an incredible 2019.
He is so good, isn't he?
He never disappoints, does he? You put him in a match, he always puts on a great show.
And how good was that stuff with him on the Virgin train?
Yeah,
up to Blackpool with his shirt undone. Yeah. Charlotte taking pictures. Tyler. I mean, the confidence to go to unbutton your shirt fully when you've got Charlotte sitting next to you on a train.
I mean, when you look like that, would you not go out everywhere with your shirt undone fully?
Not in this country, I wouldn't.
No.
He's put on some serious bulk as well recently, hasn't he? He's really bulked up.
You noticed that from those early clips before the Pete Dunne match, didn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, he was a big lad then, but
no, he's hench. And the thing is, he's hench everywhere. Like his neck, he has a thick neck. And in fact, we didn't talk about that bit where he was resting on his neck. I can't remember what the technical term is. When he was up on his neck, and then he flipped his legs over. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
No.
Oh damn! It was where he would, the bit where they're basically pinned. Zack Sabre Jr. does it a lot. He lifts the shoulders off the ground.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Incredible.
That was insane.
Oh yeah.
He didn't quite do it the first time he tried, but the fact that he could do it at all is impressive. Brett, star performer?
I'm going to go with Tyler Bate. You won me over.
Okay, and Sam?
I'll go with James Drake.
Oh, nice.
Oh, who would have thought it? James Drake and Joe Coffey featuring the star performers. Okay, finally then, it's time to do our overall rank. We're each going to give the pay-per-view a score out of 10 and then work out the average. And who's going to go first? I think Sam.
This is going to sound really harsh, but I think for me it was a 6.5 out of 10.
Okay.
I thought it was good. I think it could be better. Looking forward to what they do in the future.
Yeah, fine. John?
Yeah, I'm the same, 6.5. Yeah, good start. Ooh. I'm going to carry on watching going forward, I think.
Okay. Brett?
Well, I'll be a little bit more generous. I'll go with 7. Because there was a lot of decent, and good, not just decent. There was a lot of good in this, but there was just something about it that didn't elevate it to great.
Okay. I'm going to go for a 7.5. Just because
I've watched all the episodes.
That's
actually,
a 6.8 overall.
That cut quite deep, actually, Brett. I know. I think it's because I was, like I said, I was so excited, and the bits I really enjoyed. The first match, Balor coming out, and a lot of the Pete Dunne match as well. 7.5.
Awesome.
So what was that? Sorry, what was the average, Sam?
That's a 6.8.
6.8.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm sorry, Adam. It's just like, start. All those people that watched all of Lost convincing everyone it was great at the end.
And that's the tagline for the review.
6.8. Okay, so that is nestled nicely in between WWE TLC 2018 and Survivor Series 2018. Kind of, in the mid-card of our pay-per-views. Yeah. Okay, nice one. So, one thing I've got here, a little note, is that it was amazing that it was on a Saturday night, right? Like, there's no reason why next time they do one of these, we could arrange we should get together and we should watch it and then we should pod afterwards.
I never understand with American events why they do it on a Sunday. Like, you can't be
that
hungover when you go to work the next day. It makes no sense.
We could get really drunk and then do the podcast and it will all be totally perfect and fine, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're not meant to be drunk.
To be honest, when I watched the first match, the tag match, it was late Saturday night, and my notes are just scribbles.
Just scrolls.
Yeah, I was looking at it just now. I was like, "Oh Jesus! I hope the other guys have got some other stuff for this because I've got nothing."
And John, you've got a cold, right? You're ill now.
Yeah.
Perhaps you should lay back.
Been cursed by Papa Shango.
So much, yeah.
Yeah, maybe that was it. That was it.
Stop going so hard on the alcohol. I'm worried about you.
Is this an intervention now?
Yeah, we're going to have a proper intervention during this break, and then we'll be right back with some listener comments.
Do I need to mention that's the hardest part of the ring?
Okay, listener comments. As we said, we've staged an intervention, and John no longer feels in a fit enough state to do the listener comments. Or actually, he asked before if he couldn't because he's got a cold. So, Sam, who has said what?
Yeah. All right, so we've had Loserweight get in contact with us. Favourite match was Mastiff Dennis. Silly but fun, but had no high expectations. Was surprised at just how good the atmosphere was. I didn't kind of re-echo that.
Yeah.
Main event was disappointing. Coffee has looked good on TV, but was off the pace, and those botched top rope spots were nasty.
Yeah.
They were.
Again, I think kind of a little bit harsh, but yeah, take it with a grain of salt. Carl Luckhurst been in contact. A solid event, no frills matches, and we're all capable of being the main event. A few twists, including the Grizzled winning the tag team titles. I like that, the Grizzled.
Yeah.
The Grizzled sounds quite good, doesn't it? Yeah.
That's a good tag team name. Nice abbreviation. Walter coming out after the title copyright WWE images in the bottom right came up, made me pop massively. 5 stars. Made a lot of us just turn off thinking the event ended.
Oh, John. It's because John was hammered. He's like, I need to go to bed.
No, well, that's the next day. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
Amir from WrestlePlug, he sent us loads of great points. We've edited some of the highlights. The tag title match was epic. The finest example of world-class tag wrestling going on today. Putting over the grizzled young veterans was the right choice, as otherwise nobody can be on Mustache Mountain's level. It's a really good point.
Yeah, that is a really good point, actually. That makes a lot more sense.
I hope they I hope they build that tag division up around those two teams and kind of add more teams to it.
Yeah, they're so strong.
No DQ match was great fun. So proud of both these guys. They aren't the archetypal WWE talent, so I completely agree with that as well.
Yeah. Spot on.
Women killed it as always, but I felt Rhea Ripley showed up more. She's rapidly becoming the heir to Shayna on NXT, and I'm thrilled for her. Not sure I agree with that, but it's
We can't agree with everything Amir says. He's got his own podcast. No. I don't want people going over
otherwise
to listen
we would
to
have to just replace Brett with him.
Everyone. Sounds quite good. Amir, DM us.
Coffee deserves everyone's respect. We know about Dunn, but a lot of us question Coffee being in that position. He was delivered big time. I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, mostly agree. But...
Final note, Walter, game changer for NXT UK. Which, I would say that's real star power they've finally got on the show, kind of, other than obviously like, your Pete Dunnes and your Tyler Bate. It's nice to have a big single star there who could legitimately be a threat to basically anyone. Just anyone in general. Vince McMahon, watch your back.
I think when you think you've got Pete Dunne, you've got Walter, you've got Travis Banks, and you've got Jordan Devlin, you've got 4 top quality singles male wrestlers there. I think we could have some very exciting matches. I also love the fact that they keep bringing in these occasional little sort of visits from people from the main NXT roster. Like Fabian Eichner has had a few decent matches. Obviously, they brought over Marcel Bartel as well for some stuff. Hopefully, there'll be some sort of Ring Kampf reunion if they could get Timothy Thatcher this year.
They both use the music, don't they?
Yeah. Although he didn't on NXT UK the other day.
Did he
they
not?
had a match and they didn't use music. He had different music, which was odd because on NXT America they have used that. So.
Oh, that's because Walter. They don't want to save that for Walter in the UK.
It's got to be for Walter, surely.
Yeah, I guess they don't want people to realise that they were part of a faction. Who knows? Anyway, thank you to everybody who got in touch with those listener comments. And after this break, we're going to ask the hardest question of the week.
Question of the week.
So the question we put out this Sunday on Twitter was, which UK star that didn't appear on NXT UK Takeover do you expect to make a big impact on NXT UK this year? They don't need to have a WWE contract already to be a valid answer. We had a few on this. Jim Taylor says Travis Banks. Ha ha ha, Jim Taylor. I'm sure he'll have a big impact. Hopefully he'll get a chance to have a proper match at some point on a big event. Planet Jobbers said they botched her debut immediately, but the need for another top heel in the women's division leads us to believe that Ginny Couture is going to have a huge 2019.
Yeah.
I don't. I was going to be harsh. I was going to say I don't really like her, but actually stuff she's done at Riptide has been particularly good. I just think the stuff she's done on Progress has been a bit boring.
I thought her match with Tony Storm on the Mae Young Classic was awesome as well.
Yeah, could be a big year for her. She's definitely got a good character, so I think that could fit nicely.
I was going to say, I like her gimmick. I like the House of Couture thing. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and you can imagine the American fans enjoying the, the posh, rich fashionista gimmick. Will Superkick says if her appearance was indicating being signed up, then Jazzy could be built so well on that brand. Mm-hmm. Agree with that. Loserweight says fingers crossed for Chuck Mambo.
That'd be bonkers. Can you imagine? That'd be crazy.
Guys.
I just don't think... I don't know. Who knows? He could be like a No Way Jose kind of figure.
Can I jump in with an answer? I've got an answer.
Yeah, go on.
An answer. Yeah, I want to see Mike Bailey. I want to see Mike Bailey on TV because he is the most underrated, best wrestler.
Yeah,
and I know he's not English, but he's great.
He could.
And he's been doing the UK scene.
I guess the problem is that most of the people who aren't English, I suppose that's not the case for Rhea Ripley, but she's already WWE. But most of the people who aren't English are people who have been on the UK scene for a long time and who are based in England.
Isn't he? I thought he moved over here. Does he not live over here?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought he moved over here because I didn't think he was allowed back into the US, which may cause its own.
David Starr moved over, didn't he?
I don't think.
Mike Bailey still
where's
lives
there?
out
Canada.
I just said there to be vague.
He's Canadian because he's not allowed into America because of a visa thing.
But yeah, most people.
Do you reckon we ever get Jimmy Havoc on WWE?
Yeah.
No. Okay. Good. Yeah, we do.
No.
I think maybe like in about 5 or 6 years' time,
Johnny Saint.
He might be like,
imagine.
here's British legend in the audience.
Who knows? And then finally, we had one more from Kevin Carroll, who said, "My guy Flash Morgan Webster," who I think again is another one who's going over well with the fans who weren't aware of him because he does have a good gimmick, even though it's a gimmick I'm pretty bored of after all these years.
I don't like Flash Morgan Webster.
I like Flash.
I remember when Brett picked him on one of our very early drafts that we did. Brett, you picked him. You've always been a fan.
Yeah, I think he's great, and he, has his version of the Destino, the Eaton rifle, which looks great.
Yeah, good name too. Okay, so that was hardest question of the week, and that is pretty much the NXT UK Takeover Blackpool review done. Next week we are off. I've got a week off, and then we're back the week after with our review of Royal Rumble, and we will be going over to John's house to watch it.
Yay!
And we will be putting Sam through a table.
Wait. So this could be our last full 4-person pod.
Yeah, that's true. We might be grieving in the next pod or celebrating, depending on the result. So that is a rare occurrence where we'll all be together in the same room after the event, and we'll record straight after. So that should be a lot of fun. And I think we're all looking forward to the Royal Rumble.
It's the best pay-per-view of the year, isn't it? It's always, always great.
Yeah, love the Rumble.
I can't wait to watch the promo video again.
Oh, God, yeah.
All the stats. And of course, we get the men's and the women's. And do you think, the women's one, it's not the first ever one, so they can't just fill it full of old women. It's
going to start off with, like, number 1, Mandy Rose was the first person eliminated from the Women's Royal Rumble.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So, until then, if people want to get in touch quickly, Brett, what do they do?
They can send their emails to hardestpartofthering@gmail.com. They can tweet us or message us on Instagram and Facebook. We are at hardestpartpod. And they can check out our shop, which is hardestpartofthering.bigcartel.com.
Brilliant. Thanks to everybody for listening. And until the Royal Rumble, it is goodbye from me, Adam. Goodbye from Sam.
See ya.
Goodbye from John.
Goodbye.
And goodbye from Brett.
Wouldn't want to be ya.
Oh.
You would though, wouldn't you?
Desperately. That was the hardest part of the ring.
That is the hardest part of that ring.